I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the most interesting aspects of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is Palpatine's involvement in this story, and the fact that Ian McDiarmid himself, the man who played Palpatine in the originals and the prequels, is back for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, we are 170 days from release, just under 6 months, and with each and every month that passes by, we're only getting closer to finally seeing JJ's vision and exactly how this movie really is going to truly end the entire saga. This really is going to be a historical movie without a doubt. You can only imagine, what kind of stress JJ and Chris and even George Lucas went through in order to really bring this all together into one big movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intense for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of Rey riding on her speeder on an unknown rocky world, where it's described that she nears a large base that is built into a tall canyon that is said to have once been the home of her father many years ago, during he was in exile and in hiding. It said that one of the sequences involves a moment where Rey goes down into the basement of her father's home, where she discovers many secrets of her father, one of which is described to be a holo projector and transmission of her father revealing the plans of Palpatine's clones, where the Palpatine clones are said to be revealed in the hologram itself. The hologram is described to reveal a large diagram of around 20 Palpatine clones, where the bodies are in the chambers where each chamber glows in a green hue, full of fluid. The hologram was said to be recorded before Luke Skywalker destroyed all the clones during the Battle of Jakku. Rey's father was the one responsible for developing the clones, and that he not only used DNA of Force sensitives around the galaxy, but also the DNA of Palpatine himself that he left behind. The hologram is said to reveal the clone bodies, where the hologram is said to be in the color rather than the traditional blue hue. It said that this scene was made possible on set by crafting a couple of dummy props that used an imprint of Ian McDiarmid's face, where they placed each dummy in the chamber. Each clone is said to appear as a young Palpatine, where the chambers are foggy and only revealing the chest, shoulder, and head areas, where the Palpatine clones are said to have dark brown hair with their eyes closed. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, and why it kind of reminds me of that small scene that we got in Rogue One, where we saw Vader just kind of chilling out in the bacta tank in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. We didn't really get a good glimpse of him. We got a nice, transparent view of his face, and that was about it. As far as his body went, we really couldn't see much, and it seems like that's exactly what they are doing here, with, of course, the Palpatine clones. So the Palpatine clones, this is a direct nod and/or Easter egg to that of course, the Dark Empire comic line back in the mid-1990s. Now, in the Dark Empire comic line, this sounds very similar in a sense, and also very much true to what Luke Skywalker did. So in Dark Empire, Luke, yes, did destroy each and every clone, however, one of them survived. In the canon version of what Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to do is that the clones were ultimately destroyed, each and every one of them, where Palpatine had to find another way to survive, and that was through becoming a spirit and taking over another body, that of course being the body of the Dark Acolyte. So the clones are actually said to be in the film itself, visually speaking, where we the fans will actually be able to see them on the big screen in the form of a hologram, in the form of a diagram specifically, where the transmission of Rey's father is explaining key elements of the Palpatine clones in Episode 9. So, Rey's father is said to be the one responsible for developing these clones by combining DNA of multiple Force sensitives around the galaxy, as well as Palpatine's DNA that Palpatine left behind before his death. Additionally, it's revealed that Palpatine was dying, and he knew he was dying during the events of Episode 6, and that he was actually going to perish anyway if Darth Vader never had killed him. So Palpatine was always finding a way to live on forever. It's a very interesting piece of Star Wars, I must add. Now, like I've always said before in the past, this is a transmission that was done many years ago during the events of the Battle of Jakku. Now, during the Battle of Jakku, alright, is when Luke Skywalker destroyed each and every clone. So this transmission is actually taking place before the events of Battle of Jakku, and before the events of when Luke Skywalker destroyed each and every clone. So the fact that we are actually going to see this, the fact that Ian McDiarmid played a role in this minor scene, where they actually made dummies out of him to make younger looking Palpatines, around 20 or so clones, that's going to be explored in this hologram in the form of a diagram, if that makes a lot of sense. So honestly guys, I cannot wait to see exactly what this is going to look like. This by far is the best Easter egg, or the best nod to the EU, if you will. A nice little callback by J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, and George Lucas. Anyways guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.